There is a rather peculiar thing that happens at every dinner table, every meeting room, every gathering of human beings on this earth. Some people talk, and some people watch. And here is what nobody tells you. The ones who are watching, they know everything. They know who is nervous. They know who is pretending. They know who is trying too hard and who stopped caring 3 conversations ago. The talkers, meanwhile, are quite busy performing, busy filling silence, busy making sure the room knows they exist. It is a fascinating little arrangement, isn't it? Now, this is not a story about shy people versus confident people. That would be far too simple, and life, as you may have noticed, is rarely that simple. This is actually about 2 very different relationships with information. You see, when a person is talking, their mind is occupied with one task, output. They are producing, constructing sentences, managing impressions, choosing the next word before the last one has even landed. But when a person is observing, something quite different is happening. Their mind is entirely free to receive, to notice, to collect small details that most people would walk straight past without a second glance. And those details, as it turns out, are where the real truth lives. Think of it this way. Imagine 2 travelers visiting the same city for the very first time. The first traveler talks endlessly throughout the journey. He describes what he expects to see. He shares opinions about streets he has not yet walked. He fills every moment with words, because silence to him feels like wasted time. The second traveler is quiet. She watches the way people move through the market. She notices which stalls have long queues and which ones stand empty. She observes the expression on a shopkeeper's face when a particular question is asked. Now, at the end of the day, someone asks both travelers, "What did you learn about this city?" The first traveler has a great many things to say. He speaks with confidence and enthusiasm. But if you listen carefully, you realize he is mostly repeating what he already knew before he arrived. The second traveler speaks briefly. But every sentence carries something real, something observed, something that could only have been collected by someone who was truly present. The city did not treat them differently. They walked the same streets, but only one of them was actually watching. This is what the great observers throughout history understood instinctively. Leonardo da Vinci carried a notebook everywhere he went, not to record his own ideas, but to capture what he noticed in the world around him. The way water moved around a stone. The way a horse shifted its weight before it ran. He watched before he painted. He absorbed before he created. Charles Darwin spent years simply observing, noticing the tiny variations between creatures on different islands, not rushing to conclusions, not talking over the evidence, just watching, quietly, until the pattern revealed itself. And there is something else worth noticing here. The most perceptive people in any room are almost never the loudest. They tend to sit slightly apart. They ask questions more than they make statements, and when they do speak, people listen. Not because they demand attention, but because when they open their mouth, something worth hearing tends to come out. This is not an accident. It is the natural consequence of a mind that has been paying attention. You see, every conversation contains 2 layers. There is what people say, the words, the sentences, the opinions. And then there is what people reveal, the hesitations, the contradictions, the small moments where the mask slips just slightly. A talker hears the words, an observer sees both layers. And this is why, in almost any situation, a negotiation, a friendship, a conflict, a creative problem, the observer holds a quiet but very real advantage. They are working with more information, richer information, information that was never spoken aloud and therefore never filtered or performed. Now, here is where it gets personal. Think about the last conversation you had. Not what was said. Think about what you noticed. Did you observe the moment someone's enthusiasm suddenly dimmed? Did you catch the slight pause before a confident answer? The pause that suggested the confidence was not quite as solid as it appeared. Did you notice who looked at whom when a particular subject was raised? Most of us, if we are honest, were not watching any of that. We were too busy thinking about what to say next. And this is the curious trap that talking sets for us. The moment we become focused on our own output, we lose access to the most interesting thing happening in the room, which is everything else. There is a wonderful old idea from the Japanese concept of ma, the meaningful pause, the space between notes that gives music its feeling, the silence between words that gives conversation its depth. The great masters of any craft understood that what you leave empty is just as important as what you fill. The observer understands this instinctively. They are comfortable in the pause. They do not feel the need to fill every moment with sound. And in that comfort, they collect something invaluable, an accurate picture of reality. So here is what the quiet observers know, the ones sitting at the edge of conversations, the ones who ask one question and then listen for 10 minutes, the ones whose silences sometimes make talkers uncomfortable. They know that information does not only travel through words. They know that the most honest moments in any interaction are almost never the ones that are planned or announced. They know that listening, truly listening, with no agenda, is one of the rarest and most powerful things a person can do. And they know something else, perhaps most importantly of all, that the world reveals itself, quite willingly, to anyone patient enough to watch. The door, as it turns out, was never locked. You simply have to stop talking long enough to notice the handle.